Transformers 1. I wasn't planning on watching this movie, but a few of you have asked me to review it, so I'm gonna review it today. And just as a heads up, I don't really know much about Transformers. In fact, I don't really know anything about the franchise other than the Michael Bay films, and even my memory of that is rusty. So if I get some things wrong, please forgive me. So this movie tells the origin story of the Transformers and how they came to be. The movie stars a young, ambitious robot by the name of Orion Pax, played by Chris Hemsworth, who wants to prove to the planet of Cybertron that he's more than the robots think he is. Pax is best friends with another robot by the name of D-16, played by Brian Tyree Henry. The two bots work together in the mines to try and find the very energy that keeps them going. All while the leader of Cybertron by the name of Sentinel Prime, played by Jon Hamm, sets off to look for an artifact called the Matrix of Leadership. Which we find out later in the movie that this very device can only be wielded by someone who's worthy. Orion and D-16 also meet up with a female robot named Alita, played by Scarlett Johansson, who isn't fond of the former's antics. But when Orion has both him and D-16 in a race they cannot win, he tries to prove to the world that they're more than just mine diggers. This catches the attention of Sentinel Prime, who congratulates them for their efforts, before he sends them down to sub-level 50, where they meet the next main character, B-127, or Bumblebee, played by Keegan-Michael Key. The group head off to the surface where they find out the dark truth. So it turns out Sentinel Prime isn't who he says he is, and he wants to bring order to Cybertron. He makes a deal with Cybertron's arch-nemesis by giving them their fuel in exchange for his kingdom. In other words, Sentinel Prime is a bit of a tyrant. This angers D-16 because he actually idolized Sentinel Prime. On their way back to their home city, Orion and the others come across Starscream, played by Steve Buscemi. Orion tries to get Starscream to work together with him in order to bring down Sentinel Prime. But when D-16 almost obliterates Starscream, his followers hail D-16 as their new leader. But Sentinel Prime's minions catch up with our main heroes and manage to grab a bunch of the robots, including Bumblebee and D-16, leaving Orion, Alita, and a few others behind. Orion manages to get Starscream's army, as well as his fellow co-workers, to stand up against Sentinel Prime. And they end up exposing him for the fraud he really is. But that's not enough for D-16, who turns evil and completely destroys Sentinel Prime. But when Orion tries to step in, D-16 slashes his arm and throws him off a cliff. D-16 plans to start a new era in Cybertron, and he becomes Megatron. Meanwhile, finding Orion worthy, the creator of Cybertron, known as Primus, rewards him with the Matrix of Leadership, and he becomes Optimus Prime. It then leads to a final fight between Optimus Prime and Megatron, and that's how their rivalry started. Optimus is victorious, and he banishes Megatron and his followers from Cybertron. And Orion becomes the new leader of Cybertron. While this movie wasn't a financial success, I would say this movie was relatively decent. It told the origin story of how Optimus Prime became Optimus Prime and how Megatron became Megatron. This was basically Mufasa the Lion King done better, in my opinion. And overall, I give this movie a 7 out of 10.